Welcome back to the Hare Academy, everyone. My name's Jonathan, and this is a deck review. Welcome back to the Hare Academy, everyone. In this week's deck review, we're going to be reviewing the David Blaine Gator back cards. I had these decks sent to me from David Blaine store, actually. They sent me these decks of cards to review. I got the silver Gator backs and I've got the rose gold Gator backs. This is the silver Gator backs. Now, it's going to be really hard to see on film because it is a white card with a silver design on the back. So we're primarily going to be looking at the rose gold Gator backs. Very, very nice cards. I like them a lot. So let's start with the rose gold Gator backs. The box is a matte tuck box with almost like embossing, but it's like raised ink, a black raised ink on a black matte box. It's got the rose gold Gator, so you kind of have the design of the back right here. At the bottom it says Gator backs, you know, playing cards, Gator back playing cards. Very hard to see if you're just looking at them, but in raking light, so if you kind of hold them on edge, you can see that very, very clearly. Very, very nice. On the top, it says Gator backs, and on the side, it says DB Productions. Stands for David Blaine Productions, and then if you flip it over, it says Mark Sutzman. Mark Sutzman is the designer of the Gator backs. And on the other side, it says United States Playing Card Company. So these were manufactured by the USPC. On the bottom, it says distributed by Split Spades, New York, New York. So that would be where, you know, David Blaine is out of. Opening the tuck box, on the tuck flap, you have the David Blaine Split Spade logo right there, and then you also have some nice embossing and ink work. You open up the tuck box, and you've got this very beautiful piece of art as well. On the tuck flap, little flaps here, you have a reveal. One says 8, and then if you turn it over, it says spades, 8 of spades. So you've got a reveal automatically in the box if you do that. Taking the cards out of the box, you get 3 jokers, and you can see we've got a joker with David Blaine wrestling with an alligator, another with a little girl taking an alligator for a walk. This is supposed to be David Blaine's daughter. And then you have another joker with David Blaine's daughter cuddling with another alligator. And then you get the classic David Blaine Split Spade logo. Okay, so those are your 4 additional cards, 3 jokers and a David Blaine card. The faces, you have a custom ace of spades with a alligator coming out of the water trying to eat a bird, and the spray of the water makes kind of a spade look to it. Other than that, the ace of spades is black, the pips are black. The faces, the red is more maroon than your traditional red, the black is your black, but all the pips and indices, they're pretty much straight forward. Now you notice I'm going through this and the deck is not in your traditional order. It's in what's called mnemonica, which is a deck stack published by Juan Tamariz. So you're able to take this deck out and it's already pre-stacked for you, for those magicians that do stack work. The court cards, all the faces have been redesigned to represent people that are important in David Blaine's life. People like his mother, his girlfriend, people that helped him out in magic. Mark Sutzman is one of these. And then, of course, David Blaine is the King of Spades. He puts his face on the King of Spades on all the decks that he puts out. So it's a very nice deck of cards in that way. The backs, absolutely gorgeous. It's a foil ink, so it's a metallic ink. So it gets that real luster when you shine it in the light. It is similar to a lot of David Blaine's decks where they're in quadrants. as opposed to top and bottom. So this is mirrored to here, which then this is mirrored to here. So it's a very nice design. I like what Mark Sutzman did with the design. How do they feel in the hands? They feel great. They fan wonderfully. They spring or dribble very nice hand to hand. You can do wonderful cardistry moves with them. So they're going to be similar to a lot of other luxury decks. This is branded as a luxury deck. The cards are kind of the retail stock that they use with USPC, United States Playing Card Company, and so it's not like a crushed beef stock or anything like that. It's pretty much your standard retail stock. A couple of things I did hear on a lot of the websites that the cards aren't centered. And now my rose gold Gator backs, all the cards were centered fairly well. It was very, very nice. On my silver Gator backs, I had one card that was cut very, very close to the edge, and that was the 10 of diamonds. So you can see right there, it got way off center in the cutting process, which is kind of a bummer, but that's not David Blaine's fault. That's the United States Playing Card Company's fault, and they should have had a better, they should have looked at it a little closer as they were coming off the production line to make sure that these cards were being cut centered, especially at a price tag of $20 a deck. These are not cheap cards. You know, and if you're going to spend $20 for a deck of cards, I would want my cards to be centered, especially if I'm going to be using them in performance. I want them to look as good as possible. These cards are absolutely gorgeous, so don't get me wrong. I love them, even though there's some minor things, like one of my cards being cut completely off center. The rose gold cards, absolutely gorgeous. They're a dream to handle. I love handling them. I'm not going to be using them in a lot of what I do, just simply because they're so nice to look at, and so I want to keep them very nice as well. All in all, if you're a card collector, these are nice to have in your collection. If you're going to use them to perform, I would pick probably a less expensive option to perform with, because as attractive as these are, at $20 a deck, you're not going to want to be taking them to your restaurant gig and showing them around and doing magic with dirty hands at someone's table. They're just too nice for that, or they're just too expensive for that. I would go with something a little less expensive. But as for a collection, these are absolutely great. And because they are David Blaine cards have a tendency to increase in value with collectors as time goes on, whether they're opened or not. Naturally, unopened decks are going to fetch a higher price than an open deck, but I've seen some of David Blaine's decks go for hundreds of dollars because you can't get them anymore. Once these are sold, they're not gonna reprint them. So if you're into David Blaine decks, you like collecting decks, get yourself some Gator backs. They are worth having in your collection. Well, that's all the time I have today. Thank you for joining me here at the Hat and Hare Academy. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the section below. Also, follow me on my Instagram at Hat and Hare, or on my Twitter at Hare Academy. Until next week, thanks for joining me here at the Hat and Hare Academy.